So my uncle, absolute legend, genuinely lovely man, sat me down once and said, "Work hard, stay loyal, save everything, retire happy. 4 steps, 40 years, done." And I said, "Uncle, that's great advice." And I meant it. And then I watched him get laid off at 57 in a company-wide email that started with the words, "As we evolve our organizational structure. 4 steps, 40 years, 1 email." Here's the thing. Gen Z saw that happen to someone in almost every family, and instead of getting angry or sad or writing strongly worded tweets, they quietly decided to build a completely different relationship with money. Not louder, not angrier, structurally different. And today I want to show you exactly what that looks like through the lens of psychology, because I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to look at your own financial life and go, "Wait, why am I doing it this way?" And you might not have a good answer. Let's get into it. Every generation inherits what psychologists call a social contract, an unspoken agreement between you and the world that says, here's what you do, here's what you get. For decades, the financial version of that contract was simple. Go to school, get a job, be loyal, spend less than you earn, wait, and eventually, the system rewards you. And for a while, it worked. Not perfectly, not for everyone, but enough people won that the contract felt legitimate. Then Gen Z was born. And the contract started doing something contracts aren't supposed to do. It started lying. They were children, genuinely cartoon-watching, juice-box-drinking children, when the 2008 financial crisis hit, and they watched something that left a permanent psychological mark. Adults who did everything right lose everything anyway. Families who followed every rule, save money, trust banks, buy a house, watching it evaporate, because people in suits, in boardrooms, in institutions they never met, made decisions that affected everyone, and then those institutions got bailed out, and nobody went to jail. Cool system. Then Gen Z grows up. They're told, go to college, it's worth it, so they do. And they graduate into a job market that's somehow both competitive and underpaying, carrying an average of $37,000 in student debt for degrees that in many fields are now worth less than a good portfolio and a halfway decent LinkedIn bio. Then COVID hits and erases the years that were supposed to be for figuring yourself out. And through all of it, every crack, every contradiction, every broken promise, the messaging never changed. Trust the process. Be patient. It'll work out. Now, here's the psychology. And this is the part that genuinely fascinated me when I first read the research. There's a concept called schema violation, the moment reality contradicts a core belief so completely that the belief doesn't just bend, it breaks. And when a schema breaks, you don't just update one belief, you restructure everything around it. Gen Z didn't just lose faith in one financial rule, they lost faith in the architecture of the rules. And that changes everything about how you build. Okay, so if you've burned the old rulebook, what do you replace it with? Because this is where Gen Z gets genuinely interesting. And also where older generations get genuinely irritated, which I find entertaining. Rule number 1, one income is a vulnerability, not a virtue. The traditional model treated a single employer like a financial anchor, stability, security, benefits. Gen Z treats it like a single point of failure. Psychologically, they're applying something called redundancy thinking, the same logic engineers use when designing critical systems. You don't build a bridge with one support beam. You don't build a financial life with one income source. Freelancing, content creation, digital products, investments, side businesses. This isn't hustle culture for the sake of it. It's deliberate diversification against a risk they watched materialize in real time. The generation that watched loyal employees get deleted via email is not putting all their eggs in one basket. Shockingly reasonable, actually. Rule number 2. Talking about money is a power move. Old cultural rule, never discuss salaries. It's rude. It's private. Funny how the rule that protects employers got framed as etiquette. Gen Z saw through it. They understood, intuitively without an economics degree, that information asymmetry is how power is maintained. Your employer knows exactly what everyone makes. You don't. That gap is worth billions in suppressed wages every single year, so they started talking, posting salaries, sharing negotiation outcomes, comparing compensation openly, and suddenly, magically, they started getting paid more, not because the system changed, because they removed the information advantage that made underpaying so easy. Rule number 3. The goal is freedom, not the finish line. Every previous generation was told, and believed, that you delay gratification for decades. You work, you save, you wait, and then at 65, you finally get to live the life you wanted. Gen Z looked at that and asked, with complete sincerity, but what if you don't make it to 65? Or make it there exhausted, sick, and out of time? Psychologically, this is called temporal discounting with mortality awareness. When people genuinely internalize that the future isn't guaranteed, they rationally reallocate value toward the present. This isn't laziness. This is a different risk model. A legitimately different answer to the question, what is money actually for? And honestly, it's a question worth asking. Alright, I need to say something that most finance channels won't, because it doesn't make for a satisfying narrative. Gen Z is the most financially educated generation in history. They're also the most financially anxious. Both of those things are simultaneously completely true, and I think that's because we, and I include myself in this, have confused information consumption with financial progress. Here's what actually happens psychologically. You watch a video about investing. Your brain releases a small hit of dopamine. It registers the sensation of, I'm getting better at this. But you didn't invest anything. You watch someone else talk about investing. This is called vicarious achievement. Your brain partially simulates the reward of doing something, just by watching it being done. It's why you can spend 3 hours on finance content and feel productive, while your bank account hasn't moved at all. And the algorithm knows this. The algorithm is designed around this. Every video you watch about money that doesn't make you take action, that's not education. That's your anxiety being monetized. I say this with full awareness, that I am currently a video about money that you are watching. The irony is not lost on me. So here's what I actually want you to walk away with. 4 things. Real ones. 1. Audit your financial beliefs like a skeptic, not a student. Every rule you follow about money was written by someone in a specific era for specific reasons. Ask, does this rule still apply to my reality? If you can't answer that, you're following inherited software you never actually installed yourself. 2. Make the number real. Write down your actual financial situation, the real number, not a vague sense of it, because financial anxiety is almost always worse than financial reality. The fog is scarier than the fact. Always. 3. Separate learning from doing. Before you watch the next finance video, including rewatching this one, which would be very flattering, ask yourself, have I actually done the last thing I learned? If not, the next video isn't education, it's delay with a better aesthetic. 4. Optimize for optionality. The goal isn't the biggest number, it's the most choices, because wealth without options is just a comfortable cage. Design a financial life where you can say no to things that don't serve you. That's the actual flex, not the number. Here's the thing about Gen Z's money game that I keep coming back to. They didn't actually invent anything new. The desire for freedom over obligation, for meaning over status, for a life you actually chose, rather than one you stumbled into by following instructions, that's not generational. That's human. Every generation felt it. Your parents felt it. Their parents felt it. The difference is that previous generations were told, loudly, repeatedly by culture and family and advertising, that those feelings were immature, that you grow out of wanting freedom, that responsibility means compliance, that the right move is to be patient, be loyal, be quiet, and wait. Gen Z just had enough evidence and enough internet to look at that message and say, that's not wisdom. That's just what people say when they've already accepted a life they didn't fully choose. So the question isn't whether Gen Z is playing a different game. The question is, when did you stop asking whether the game you're playing is actually the one you want? And if you can't answer that, Maybe that's where to start. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.